After finishing the Mortal Kombat 1 story, I could say for a fact, I'm torn. After all the ranting and raving that they were going on about how this game is basically going to be rebooted with all new imagined characters and like a completely different story, I didn't really think it would go in this direction. Now don't get me wrong, there are definitely aspects of the game that were different from previous titles, but definitely not as different as I initially imagined. So let's recap real quick. After becoming a Keeper of Time, following the events of Aftermath, Liu Kang restarts history all the way from the Big Bang, creating the world and inhabiting it with life, initiating an era of peace, leaving it in the hands of mortals to realize their own fates in the reimagined way. In the beginning, we also meet characters like Liu Kang, Kung Lao, Raiden, who are brothers, and are simple farmers tending to fields and living a simple life, and pretty much serving their community. And I thought this was a really good beginning, and it gave me hopes that these characters were completely reimagined with different roles for each character. But I would argue that that was pretty much one of the only things that changed for character roles, and it just served to psych us out from how the game really isn't too much different. Like, I guess you really can't recast Johnny Cage to another role because that's his charm, with his personality.
Toto, I have a feeling we're not Kansas anymore.
But ultimately, a lot of characters' fates, we find out, are the exact same as previous games. Like when we were confronting Shang Tsung, the sorcerer in his lab, and Mileena stabs Kenshi in the eyes.
Kenshi!
Relying on his Sento sword to guide him, just like the previous title. Like when Scorpion and Sub-Zero feuded after raiding the castle where Quan Chi and Shang Tsung had the Soul Stealers. The feud between fire and ice that was old as time in the previous titles once again came back up.
How could you? Father would turn in his grave if he saw this!
He was a doddering old fool. He did us a favor having that accident. And I was right to let him die.
Let him die? You said you tried to save him!
A lie. Because you couldn't and still can't face the truth.
Like when Raiden became the champion of Earthrealmers to fight against the Outer World and receive lightning powers, just like how Raiden has protected Earth in previous titles. The list goes on and on. Liu Kang takes the battle to Shang Tsung's timeline, but before that, he amasses allies from different timelines. We see him with an army of hundreds come to Shang Tsung's timeline in front of a giant step pyramid with a wide staircase, preparing for a battle between good and evil. And the ending was pretty epic, I'm not gonna lie. The player has the power to select any playable character in the roster. And honestly, when I first saw that, I thought it was so cool. I said, what? You get to pick your final character? I was stressed and didn't know who to pick. But you know I had to stick with the OG Scorpion.
Get over here!
I know he's basic, and honestly I was debating between him and Baraka, because I really like playing Baraka in the game. But ultimately I ended up choosing Scorpion because I felt he was easier to play. The ending then involves Liu Kang and Shang Tsung's forces battling it out on this pyramid temple, with the player character ascending the stairs. It looks a lot like the opening to Armageddon. The intermittent cutscenes are identical with every character, just with the player model being different. A few of them involves the dark versions of Jackie, Cassie, Takeda, Kung Jin. The rest of the fights includes fighters, which are hybrids of two different characters. A lot of different versions of characters, like Cyborg Smoke, is one of the variants. I really enjoyed playing this part of the game. I thought it was a little confusing, but very unique at the same time. I really loved seeing all the different combinations. I thought that was pretty funny. And although I loved the gameplay in the end, the story kind of just felt half done. Like the game should have had a specific person in the end, like Raiden, because he was hyped up so much in the beginning for being this big good fighter. Or even Liu Kang.
You must return to your timeline before this one collapses. Thank you for your aid, Scorpion. May we one day meet again.
I guess when I played as Scorpion, the story just didn't seem very full circle to me. There wasn't anything too major at the end. It was only like Johnny Cage was gonna make a movie of their experience, and Mileena rules over the outer world with her sister and father by her side to guide her. Quan Chi, Shang Tsung, General Shao are now imprisoned for their crimes. The one major thing to take away from the ending was when we saw Havoc murder Jax, Poor Jax. He was my favorite character in the previous titles. Havoc expresses joy at all the chaos and bloodshed that took place, but he hates that it all ended so quickly.
The next time, it won't.
So after all of this is what I think. I think the game was good, but I do believe the game was a bit confusing at some parts. A lot of the time, the game felt it was very repetitive. I can't tell you how many times I had to fight General Shao. I really like Johnny Cage's character in the game.
I'm sorry, you're 10,000 years old? Oh, talk about aging gracefully.
To be honest, I don't really like his character that much in other games, so it was a nice surprise for me. I really loved playing as Baraka too. I really loved playing almost all of the characters. They all had their own distinct personalities. Fighting games, in my opinion, benefit most in good character-driven storytelling. Sometimes I wish that it wouldn't be limited to playing one character per chapter, because sometimes in the story it would have made sense to play as someone else, but you were forced to play as the one you had to be playing as. I think the cameo fighters were cool, but at the same time a little underwhelming, because most of the time they would come in and like kick the opponent one time and be out. Or if you get a fatal blow, it almost seems like half of the cameo fighters were doing the same moves. So I was a little disappointed with that. I think if you don't like story games, you will not like games like this, because this game is literally a movie that pauses to let you fight someone. But it has been like that for so many years. So yeah, no change there. But it was a nice break when you had to perform the Test Your Might challenge. Or like little mini game, I guess you could say.
Test your might.
I was very taken back by this, and I know a lot of people were. It was also a very short story, only like 5 or 6 hours, so that's like nothing compared to games today that usually range anywhere from 20 to 50 hours. But the game does have other modes for you to play to make up for that. Liu Kang rewrote history to give all the characters meaningless lives, yet they all gain their powers back and join forces. And I feel like this is what got me. This was supposed to be a whole new game, but yet everybody is kind of just going back to the way they were. So what's the point? Like, yes, everyone has a different setting and relationships, but is the game really different? So my question is, did Liu Kang intend for all these characters to receive their destinies? What did you guys think of the story? Do you think the game has changed enough to be able to call itself a remake? Was Liu Kang over his head when trying to rewrite history in this new timeline? Do you think Mortal Kombat 1 is a good spin on the series? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Pause for now, play forever. AK out.